This top 5 quarterbacks to bet on edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast. It's brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up with promo code SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their college football product is about to drop. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer? Dog.
Yep, still not in the same hotel room. Although it would be more convenient if we were a little maybe adjoining suites. Could knock on the door.
Oh yeah.
No, not really. Not really.
What's happening, Kramer? How you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Day 2, captain's log. Woke up super early without an alarm again.
Nice.
Destroyed a morning show on VSiN. Shout out to Follow the Money. And
it feels like we've been out here for like a week and a half because I'm sleeping in shifts. You know, take a nice long nap after the 4 to 7 a.m. and then wake up, tool around, knock out some work, hop on the podcast. We're hopping on VSiN, do a couple guest spots. So it feels like I'm doubling up my days here at the circuit, which of course always enjoy being here, hanging out. I've tried to go outside every day, but man, it's like 110 outside. And if you're not near a pool, it really does feel insane walking around, even going like to the end of Fremont Street. I'm like, what am I doing? I need to get back in the sweet, sweet air conditioning.
Well, and there is that, like when you're on Fremont Street, there's kind of Colby would call it a shopping mall, but it's a open air stadium. And there's so much air conditioning being pumped like out of the casinos into this corridor that it's like, all right, it's not hot, but it's like 92. And then you get to the cross street where you get the hot breeze, and it's like, I mean, 110 degrees with a breeze just feels disgusting.
Yeah, and you mentioned Colby Open Air Stadium. We talked about it on the VSiN show Friday night, but we haven't broken it down here on the podcast. The Arena Football League actually held a game in a shopping mall. Colby always jokes about these, dome stadiums being like shopping malls, but Arena Bowl 33 actually took place in a mall. It was, if you saw some of the clips or the videos from it, it was just hilarious because there were a handful of people who maybe actually did want to come to the Arena Bowl, and then there's also people just walking past who are doing their normal mall shopping and just happened to stumble upon a championship arena game. Very funny visual. I was cracking up.
I'll give him credit for trying something, and I'll give me more credit for getting a CBS Sports play-by-play crew in the house. I mean, think about it. If you happen to be at that mall, maybe you're getting some Wetzel's pretzels or something, you could have bumped into Jeff Fisher. What a day. What a Saturday.
It would have, and I only watched a few minutes, but maybe there was some, an errant football. This is the Arena League, and some like an old lady in the old mall walking club gets nailed by an errant pass.
Kind of happened. So a ball got deflected out of bounds, and the person who picked it up was not about to give that football back.
If you know anything about the Arena League finances, they need that ball. So they probably had their Paul Blart mall cop chase them down on a Segway and make sure they get that ball back. We got to cancel this league if we lose the ball. We're already hanging on by a thread financially. Shout out to the chat.
Well, hold on, because that's a great segue to the Segway. 110-degree heat does not keep people from renting Segways in downtown Las Vegas and trolling around. Like, I do not understand this at all. 100% chance that one of those Segways is going to break down because of the heat, and then you're stranded. you're stranded out in the middle of downtown Vegas. Not somewhere you want to be stranded without a Segway.
Yeah, there was a whole family rolling by on their Segway. You see all kinds of crazy stuff on Fremont Street, but somehow the family full of Segways stood out. Also, I think I don't know, wearing a helmet on a Segway to me, kind of soft. I mean, it's a Segway.
And Sean, we were sexually harassed on Fremont Street today.
I really was. They, they have these. I mean, if you haven't been to Fremont Street, it's kind of like Hollywood Boulevard, where they have all these crazy characters. I mean, some people, God help them, they're in like the full superhero, big like Mickey Mouse costume or whatever, doing their song and dance for tips, which I don't know how do you do that in 110-degree heat? I get it's a dry heat, but not inside the Mickey Mouse costume. And then they have, like a homelessy guy playing some cans. They'll have, some little magician, maybe a little 3-card Monty type situation. And then they have just chicks. A lot of them, they're allowed to be topless as long as they have tape over their nipples. I don't know what sort of legal loophole. We saw 2 gals. Now, again, I'm not one to body shame someone, but if you're putting it out there,
I mean, Sean, you're not doing that if you didn't first get rejected by the 35 strip clubs in Las Vegas, right?
I would say this. This is probably the nicest way I could put it. Possession receiver. If I was describing her body type, she was reporting to camp not at her playing weight, looking to play herself into shape. And Kramer goes, "Look at those girls. One of them has a walking boot." But the walking boot was not slowing her down from trying to be super sexy on the strip. And then these other, like their move is, hey, we're like, I'm some sexy angel with a whip or whatever sort of gimmick. And then they try and get you to pose for a photo and then get, 10, 15, $20 off you. And I know how these street performers work. You do not make eye contact, because if you make eye contact, they lock in. And one was just locked in on Kramer, who was following him down the whole Fremont Street. She's like, "Hey, you come here." And then Kramer wasn't really responding. Or what'd you say to her, Kramer?
I probably just said, a nice like, "No, thank you," or "Cheers." And she that basically, what would you say? She walked with us for a good 100 feet.
Yeah, I was like, we gotta. At one point, she said, "You're walking too fast for me." And then I wanted to be like, "Hey, maybe some fast walking might do you a little good," but I just kept my head down and kept going.
It was like in Jurassic Park when they were in the Jeep, and he's like, "Must go faster."
Shout out to the Chad ZD Mills checking in, saying he caught a bit of the VSiN show. Good shit. Appreciate that. ZD Mills, you are a legend. Joe Flow 206 saying Penix exclamation point as far as top 5 quarterbacks to bet on. Maybe we will have the chance to bet on Penix. Would like getting Penix as a dog. First Japanese baseball game in a couple days. Anything I should know? I don't know. I've never been to a Japanese baseball game. Sounds fun. I think from what I recall, it's like someone went and they said there's like no trash anywhere. So I would say avoid spilling stuff. Don't throw your peanuts on the ground. But I don't know. I've never been to a baseball game overseas. Sounds fun.
So yeah, everyone who goes to Japan, Tokyo, it says how amazing it is. It's been described as a soccer game at a baseball game. That was, I mean, it's probably just a little bit different, but if you ever seen those crowds over there, like they are participating. So should be lit, as Colby would say.
All right, Kramer. Yesterday's podcast, we did top 5 quarterbacks to fade. Now, top 5 quarterbacks to bet on. Who's one of your quarterbacks to bet on this season?
Well, this was actually a much harder exercise than the bet against, which was somewhat surprising to me. But I'm just going to start with a guy who, some of this is just pure emotion. Some of this, there's any time first touchdown lingering in here. And some of it's just like, this is how everyone would play football. And that's Josh Allen. I know his overall ATS record isn't like incredible, but he's very good as a dog. He's serviceable as a favorite. And like I said, I think the main reason that he kind of lingered into this conversation, and maybe I'm cheating, was the fact that he's such a great prop element. First touchdown, especially very close to our heart. I think he was actually the guy that first got us onto the whole 8-10 to 1 or better. You got to smash. Especially like this is a little bit of projecting too, because I really like the idea of betting on them this year because I think they're a little depressed in the market. And so Josh Allen, not necessarily my number one. We'll see where I rank him at the end, but Josh Allen was 100% making my list.
Yeah, you made my list as well. 17-9-2 ATS as a dog. So not blindly betting Josh Allen, but the times when to bet on Josh Allen, I think, and when not to. Obviously, as a dog, they were 6-6 last year, back against the wall, went on a bit of a run there. And I think they are going to be undervalued because of Stefon Diggs. I think people look at these pass catching group and they're not going to be able to. The offense is going to hit a wall. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Josh Allen, even though he's caught a lot of hype over the years, and certainly rightly so, I still think he's gonna kind of be undervalued in this season. So Josh Allen, add him to the list of quarterbacks to bet on. Quick shout out, of course, to Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you the sweet deposit bonus. Of course, they got the little Best Ball Mania, 15 million in prizes, and they just announced a brand new thing they got going called Underdog Streaks. So basically, if you want to go streaking on Underdog Pick'em, if you've been on some heaters on Underdog Pick'em, you start out 2-0 on a Pick'em, a little 2-picker, and then if you can hit your next 9 in a row, that's right, going 11-0 on a nice Pick'em streak, you can win up to 1,000x your entry, which is just awesome. Love that. And really just Underdog Fantasy, the Pick'em, the menu they have is amazing. You got golf, you got PLL, they got a ton of stuff going for the Olympics. They got it all over at underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN, get you that instant deposit bonus and a nice Pick'em special. And of course, Ryan, we're broadcasting live from Circa, beautiful Circa, Circa Survivor, Circa Millions coming up, the best contests. It's bragging rights, but it's also $60 million in guaranteed prizes. Kramer and I are going to be signing up. They even have a whole weekend dedicated to the contest, aka Contest Weekend, August 22nd through the 24th. Come out, sign up for the contest, hang out with Kramer and I. We're going to be doing a bar event there here at the Circa, and just got them to give you guys, this is just for the Sports Gambling Podcast listeners, 15% off your hotel stay at the Circa. If you've never been, great excuse to come out. August 22nd through the 24th. Use that promo code SGP15. Get your 15% off. Come on out, hang out. And then if you don't live in Vegas or Nevada, not a problem. Getting your picks in. We got the best proxy in the business. Footballcontestproxy.com. Promo code SGP. Get your $50 off your proxy fees. SGP15 for the Circa hotel discount.
All right, you want number 2?
Yeah, who you got?
He's on the list. He's on the thumbnail. It's hard to argue with his stats. Joe Burrow is the only guy in the league who can sniff 60% ATS over the long haul. And in general, it's like your recency bias. It's like I think about him as someone I like to bet against in the beginning of the season, but when the games start to matter, I'm probably not going to look to fade him. And that's a good example of someone I probably should be thinking about betting on more. And when I thought about it this season in terms of am I really that bullish on the Bengals, the more that I kind of move the deck chairs around the AFC North, I do think they're certainly in the mix for me. And I think if Burrow's healthy, he certainly is showing force with his haircut, showing up to camp looking like some weird mix between
Hi, my name is
Eminem and Macaulay Culkin. Strange, but it does. What I noticed there is I noticed some pecs. He's been lifting. He's going to come out and honestly, like, listen to the narrative that's being spoken about him. People are already chalking it up to a slow start. They're already, questioning if he's going to be able to recover ever with whatever this hand thing is. And so, yeah, I think Burrow a little bit extra focused. The numbers back it up. He's good as a favorite, good as a dog. And kind of a winner.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to copy you, Ryan, but how can you have a list and not include Joe Burrow? 31, 20, and 1 ATS. I was thinking of besides Carson Wentz when he won me $200,000 in DraftKings Millionaire Maker, almost a 7-year anniversary coming up. Besides him, I don't think there's a quarterback that's won me more money than Joe Burrow. Covering as a dog in the Super Bowl, didn't get the outright win, but he is awesome ATS, especially as a dog. And yeah, he almost kind of looks like a bad guy in like a Bruce Willis action movie with that blonde haircut. Like he seems like, you know, some foreigner that he runs into early that's like set a bomb somewhere that Bruce Willis has to figure out. But Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, I think both kind of have that dog in them. If it isn't, and you know, as far as quarterbacks who have gone toe to toe and hung around with Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, I think, is the only guy who really can have any case against Patrick Mahomes. Of course, Mahomes got the best of him last year, but you know, they went a little too far once a Cincinnati mayor started, you know, saying, hey, get a paternity test to see if Joe Burrow's your daddy. You're like, no, stop. You've got, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is still really, really good. What are you doing? So I think the fact that he's hung with Patrick Mahomes, the fact that he is still so good at ATS, and there is a reason to doubt him coming into this season, I think the market and then Joe Burrow himself create some interesting opportunities. Kramer, I'm going to get to my third one, and this is where things could get interesting. I almost guarantee you don't have this guy on your list. Can you guess? He's in the AFC. That's all I'm telling you.
Russell Wilson.
Dog, how did you know? You looked at the sheet.
No, I didn't look at the sheet. It's because the same thing happened to me. It's like, boy, he's so sexy when he's throwing those deep balls. And now he's out of a bad situation. We talked for basically ever since he left Seattle. We were like, are we really going to quit? This is like a Tiger Woods thing. Are we really going to quit Russ? And then he was like super weird. And it's like, yeah, that guy's a weirdo. I don't want to be in anything situated with that. But now I see him in the black and gold. And it's like, well, damn, Tomlin's going to straighten his ship out.
This is, and I didn't think when I started diving into the numbers, I didn't think Russell Wilson was going to be on my list. But then I'm like, I do love betting on the Steelers. Tomlin's never had an under 500 season. And then Kramer, this is what really jumped out at me. Kenny Pickett was 15-9 ATS. Can Russell Wilson do what Kenny Pickett did? Yeah, I think he can. I think the bar is set so incredibly low. You have TJ Watt on the other side. You have Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris, both guys who could be number one running backs, I think, for a lot of teams. You give him a good play caller, decent enough pass catchers. I think Russell Wilson's in a great situation. And you look at Russell Wilson, like his fantasy numbers when they were doing the fantasy stuff, like they were better than you imagine. And it doesn't seem like his head coach hates him. So it's interesting. As much as I think there's a chance Russell Wilson gets banged up and maybe Justin Fields has a shot to win you a best ball championship, and why maybe you should be drafting Justin Fields there in the 20th round, because that rushing upside that he brings is certainly intriguing from a fantasy perspective. I mean, week one, am I going to be betting on Russell Wilson? I don't want to, no spoiler alert, but I feel like week one, we're going to be on Russell Wilson. I feel like a lot of weeks we're going to be on Russell Wilson ATS because of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best quarterback in the NFL with more than 30 road starts ATS. You carve out the last couple of years when the run game was gone from Seattle and in Denver. With whatever that situation was, like he's an elite ATS guy. When the Seattle Seahawks were about playing defense, running the ball, and taking some deep shots, he was an elite quarterback covering the spread. And I know he's older, and I know we've learned a lot of his weird habits. Hopefully he doesn't pull that fake warm-up thing in Pittsburgh. I feel like those fans might not be as into it. Who knows? But maybe they're just excited to be unlimited. But yeah, I mean, I expected you to have him on the list because the second you started diving in the numbers, you would then be remembered of all those great moments that Russ created for us. Other than the time he threw that interception and cost us a lot of money in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God! I had Marshawn Lynch to win MVP. If he gets that touchdown, he wins MVP.
Yeah, he 100% wins MVP. All right, so we basically have the same list so far.
Oh, Russell
Maybe
Wilson
this
is
next
officially
one.
on your list. Ryan, before we reveal our other two quarterbacks, I'll tell you one guy didn't make my list. Not surprising. I do have some hatred for this team and franchise. Brock Purdy is certainly someone that deserves discussion in this top quarterbacks to bet on. To me, I think I'm taking a Brock break, at least this season, because you saw it with Jalen Hurts last year and the Eagles. Like, coming off that year after the Super Bowl loss, I think is a really tough year. Everyone's looking to get paid. And I think it's just tough that slog of a season. Christian McCaffrey, as I predicted, will get injured this season. It's not me. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the math. He had 400 touches. You don't touch the ball 400 times in the NFL and not get injured the following season. It's a 17-game season. He played every game, massive workload, and then you throw on the playoffs and even the Super Bowl. Like, I just think it's going to be tough for this 49ers team to get up, and they're priced at the top of the market. They won the NFC last year. Hats off to them. But I think spread-wise, expectation-wise, are sky high. It's just tough to get back up that year after you lose the Super Bowl. So Brock Purdy might have, if I was being completely unbiased, I might have had him in this category last year if we did this episode last year. But I think now coming off the year, and last year was, hey, he had the chip on his shoulder. They were coming back from the injury. There were people out there who thought Sam Darnold had a legit MVP chance. It was kind of a crazy year coming into the season. This year, though, I think he's not someone I'm looking to necessarily, put in the fade category. Although I do think the 11.5 win total is like a hair high. I think it's just going to be, there's enough that can go wrong that will go wrong for the 49ers that Brock did not make my quarterbacks to bet on list. Did he make yours, Ryan?
No, the numbers are fine, but you look at the schedule, like which number are you looking to lay this year? We talked on VSiN this morning how that Jets number is pretty juicy week one, but they're laying big numbers throughout the season, and so that's part of it. I think he's been good as a favorite, to be clear, but the expectations continue to grow. There's a little bit more turbulence. And I just, you look at the schedule. I don't know what spot on their schedule I'm running. Maybe the Rams one because of how Shanahan owns McVay, but and how they're going to have a home crowd down there. But other than those kinds of spots, I'm not really dying to take them.
Was there someone that was close to your list that didn't make it?
I mean, I would say I thought about putting Gardner Minshew on the list.
Really? He's got to make sure he wins the starting job.
Well, I think he's gonna. I think he was very fun to bet on last year in that role he had with the Colts, and I think he could have a similar role this year. I did read some stuff from the beat reporters, basically saying that practice is structured to give Aiden O'Connell all the good reps and more of the reps, and so Gardner Minshew is probably gonna have to win the job in the preseason. That's fine. I feel like he can do that. So it's. I feel like they paid him.
I feel like they paid him enough that I know maybe they're setting up Aiden O'Connell, but I don't know, like a new coaching regime paying a decent amount to bring in a quarterback, to me, that you're kind of setting him up to win the job. But as far as the pricing, it looks pretty even, neck and neck for who's going to be the day one starter. To me, the move is, hey, let Gardner see what you got in him. You paid him. You brought him in. You already kind of know what you have in Aiden O'Connell. You knew it wasn't enough. That's why you signed Gardner Minshew. I would be surprised if Minshew isn't the day one starter.
Yeah, I'm just telling you what people who are plugged into the team are saying. Basically, that like the reaction is more, hey, it's not a 50-50 fight right now. The Aiden O'Connell is being given the shot to win the job. So I'll say though, my next guy 100% is not on your list. I know that.
Dak Prescott.
No. Although, we don't need to talk about Dak right now. He made our other list. The next one on my list, and part of this is because of what their schedule projects to be this year. But Kyler Murray is an amazing coverer of spreads. I don't know if he's winning. Especially he's not on your list. No way. Oh,
no. he's definitely a guy considered. I specifically let him off because I knew how rock hard you are for Kyler. I was just going to jump in and say he's amazing ATS as a dog. And you look at their win total, the kind of look ahead lines, they are probably going to be a dog for a decent amount. To me, though, it feels like if he gets off to a good start, maybe the market's going to correct and he's going to start being a favorite. And then I don't know. I don't like Kyler as a favorite, but I didn't mean to interrupt your Kyler love session.
They're only projected to be laying 3 points or more once this entire season. So even if there is some movement, and some of those favorite like 1 point pick 'em type games are on the back end of the schedule. So when you're talking about a team that's going to be catching a touchdown, more than a field goal, a touchdown week 1, more than a field goal week 3, more than a touchdown week 5, maybe close to a touchdown 6 and 8. There's just going to be a lot of juicy spots to take this team early on. And oh, by the way, I do think there is a ceiling with this team, especially with some offensive output. And we used to always joke, but there is something about being effective at getting in the back door. And Kyler has always shown us he just knows how to slide right in there. So yeah,
he's a baseball player.
Know.
He knows how to slide.
Sean, downstairs at the Circa right now, I believe the Arizona Cardinals are 14-1 to win the division. And I'm sitting here knowing that it's probably a waste of my money, trying to tell them, how do I not go downstairs and get a piece of that action? Anyway, Kyler's number 4, or Kyler's on my list here because I'm going to love betting on him at the beginning of the season.
Kramer. Now, this guy, the love fest continues for me, at least quarterbacks to bet on. And this is, Nick Fortune, 49ers fan. I see him in the chat saying it's fair not to have Brock to be on the starting top 5 quarterbacks. Again, to clarify, this is like top 5 quarterbacks to bet on. This guy, I don't know. I certainly don't consider him a top 5 quarterback, but I think you factor in what they did at the coaching position, what they did at the skill position players, their expected improvement for the offensive line, Will Levis, and how much of a dog he's going to be this season. And I think the market will be a little slower to react. Again, the more I've been doing these kind of analysis and look at Trevor Lawrence, right? Like where you get drafted seems to hang with you pretty long in the NFL. Like if you're a number 1 pick overall, people will bend over backwards making excuses for you year after year. And then flip the other side. If you're a round 2 pick, or if you're, Brock Purdy dealt with some of this. If you're drafted later on, the teams, the market in itself will take a while to adjust. So I think Will Levis is in a good situation where he could get off to a good start and the market might be a little slow to adjust. So yeah, Will Levis is probably someone I'm going to be betting on a decent amount this season.
I love that pick. Shoot your shot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a dog in a lot of these spots. And yeah, man, I the more we talk about it, the more I'm in on Will Levis. You know who else I'm in on? Rhythm, baby. Love Rhythm. I was just playing around with my model, Ryan. That's right. I got a golf model for the 3M Open coming up there in beautiful Minnesota, Blaine, Minnesota. They're showing they like Davis Riley to get a top 20 at plus 500. They got top 20 picks, top 10, top 5. Of course, some outright winners, and you can create your own model. That's right. Hey, maybe you think recent form really matters for this tournament, or maybe you think it doesn't. Whatever stats are important to you, whatever stats you like, whatever stats you're looking to fade, Rhythm can come up with a custom model for you. That's right. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Get started today. Get that 7-day free trial. You're going to like it. You're going to enjoy it. Great picks, great props, and your own custom models. The college football college football model. Their system should be up next couple of weeks here. So you want to be subscribed when it drops. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And of course, shout out to Game Time. Game Time is the place to get last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And it's not just sporting events. I know baseball going on right now. Great excuse to get to the ballpark. Just fire up the Game Time app. Support SGPN by using the promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off your first purchase. Get a great deal, great seat. They got flash deals, zone deals. They're just dying to give you the best tickets last minute. You know, you're probably not a person who does a ton of planning. Just maybe on a whim, you got an afternoon to kill. Your wife's, hey, you haven't taken me out in a while. Let's fire it up, because they got concert tickets, a little bit of everything. I saw Dead and Company at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Amazing experience. Couldn't recommend it more, and make it a little more special. Get $20 off. Just go to gametime.co or download the Game Time app. Use that promo code SGPN, your go-to app for last minute tickets. Gametime.co, promo code SGPN. All right,
Sean.
Kramer. Yes.
Oh, I was going to give you some data on Will Levis.
Toss it my way.
Only expected to be favored once on the season.
Yeah, I mean, just if you looked at Dogs ATS, that's in the NFL. You want to be on that side if you can, more times than not. And a quarterback that you think can be pretty competent, being an underdog that many times, feels like a good spot to be in on him. Kramer, how many more do you have left?
One. I think we both gave out 4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, last guy for me. This was, I kind of put him on the list and then went through made sure the data backed it up. And I was shocked to see how good Jared Goff has been against the spread, especially in the favorite role.
Yeah.
And this is a team that we've been harping on all offseason. Like, the gap between them and the second best team in the division, to me, is much wider than most people are giving it credit for. I think this is one of the smash division bets you can make. Like, to me, Detroit to be priced like Kansas City. And I don't see it. So yeah, I mean, I like them. I know they're going to be laying a little bit of a premium, but my argument is they're not being given enough credit. This is one of the teams that has the most continuity. You keep hearing me say returning production on the college side, but absolutely in the pro game, it's Jared Goff in this offense. Now, I'm a little worried about the defense and maybe them giving up some points, but yeah, I was going to put Jared, because again, he's another one where I look at the schedule early and I'm like, well, yeah, I think I'm going to be on Detroit a bunch of times, because I think they're going to be a lot better than people think this year.
Yeah, Ryan, spoiler alert, nugget I have for the Detroit Lions team preview. And of course, 32 NFL team previews, 32 episodes coming at you starting Sunday night, 8:30 Pacific, youtube.com/sportsgambling podcast. One of the nuggets I have in store for the Detroit Lions is Detroit Lions are the only team in the NFL that has had the same quarterback, head coach, and offensive coordinator the past 3 years. So the fact that Ben Johnson decided to stick around and become and just one more year with the Lions at the OC position, I think is a pretty big development for them. I like the continuity. Unfortunately, my real estate holdings on Jared Goff sucks island prevented me from adding him to the list, but I'm with you, Ryan. The continuity, the way they clearly respond to their head coach, the kind of the mojo they had going last year. Hopefully they can recapture it. Certainly a fun team. I would have loved to see, not only to knock off the 49ers, but just it would have been awesome to see them in the Super Bowl last year. But again, when you get to the near top of the mountain, it is a little tough to get back there. So we'll see if they can keep the magic, but the continuity certainly makes a ton of sense there.
Unbelievable what just happened.
Kramer, you've been getting a million knocks on the door. What's that? What's going down?
Security just came by to do a wellness check.
On you?
On me.
Why?
So the first knock earlier in the show was where the maid's coming to clean the room. I told them to please come anytime before 4 p.m. because I knew I'd be doing the show then. Of course, they show up at 4:15. That's fine. 15 minutes later, they're banging on the door again. I figure it's the maids. It's security. Sir, you've had your privacy on for 48 hours, and we just want to make sure everything's okay. I'm like, I literally asked them to come clean the room, and they just showed up. I'm totally fine. They're like, oh, okay. We just wanted to make sure you're okay.
I'll say this. I'll say this too. The people that work, and I'm sure the haters will be like, "Oh, it's just because they sponsor you." Blah blah blah. I mean, we have Derek on the show. If you don't understand, like Derek is a legit DJ and a cool guy to hang out with. I don't know what you're missing, but I would say the way they run this place, the customer service is really friendly. From the people working at Saginaw's to the, even the people, sweeping up the place, the coffee shop people working at Jackpots. Like, I feel like everyone really goes out of their way to be friendly. It does have this small time, like a small business vibe. You go to some of the places on the strip and you can run into a couple sour people where they're just clearly, I don't know, they get grinded down by the corporate nature of working for like a massive company. But there is like a small timey type vibe here. I think like when people talk about what they like about the Midwest, I think I kind of get some of that vibe here at Circa.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a quick example. When I had a little bit of a security incident at the Palazzo, they were about as helpful as an asshole on my elbow. Meanwhile, I was after a massive NFL slot heater. I lost control of my mind a little bit, left the cell phone on the slot machine, realized that shortly thereafter, this is now at the Circa, I find one of the security guards who, fortunately, I mean, part of it is we were here every week and you start to recognize guys and say like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, that's probably part of it too.
They ushered, like they were like, oh yeah, let's go get your phone back. And it was like not a big deal. So yeah, I mean, people just get mad at stuff. That's the reality. And it is funny, the random trolls that send us messages about like a negative thing about the Circa. And it's okay, cool. Go to one of the other casinos that has this, like, so every casino has a thing that they're going to rip you off with that you're going to be annoyed. That's how Vegas works. That's why you're coming out here to lose money.
The last time we were out here, Ryan, I had a Kindle. I left it in my bed. I was reading my Kindle before I went to bed, passed out, and then I even do when I leave, I do a little check, like, hey, charger, all the stuff, and it was like tossed in the bed somewhere. Totally forgot about it. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be such a pain. I call up. Within like 1 minute, I'm talking to a human being. They're like, yeah, a Kindle with a Grateful Dead sticker. I'm like, yes. They're like, we'll mail this out. And they mailed it out. They charged whatever the shipping was. It was like $15-20. Charged it to the room. And that was it. Like and then the thing was there. Like, I don't know. I just imagine if that happened at like one of these mega places on the strip, it would be like, good luck ever seeing that Kindle again. Ryan, last quarterback of guys to bet on. A lot of people think might not have made the list. I wish I brought my chain with me. Rare breed, untamed, Jalen fucking Hurts. Now he's got, oh man, so many doubters. There's all this acrimony. Meanwhile, this guy still has an amazing offensive line, 2 awesome receivers that Howie Roseman figured out how both to get paid. And you're giving him Saquon Barkley, 34-17 straight up as a starter. Love it. Let's go. Jalen Hurts, rare breed, untamed. Kramer.
I noticed you didn't bring up his ATS record as a favorite.
Well, I would say that last year, again, I mean, a lot of those ATS losses came last year. Things got awry. They almost reached the mountaintop. They got to the Super Bowl, couldn't get the win. Chiefs got the best of them. Again, hats off to Patty Mahomes, Showtime Mahomes, and Andy Reid. Got the best of them. They were not the best team on the field that day. Unfortunately, came really close to shocking the world, winning that Super Bowl. And then the year after the Super Bowl, it's so hard to get back to that place. You get everyone wanting to get paid. There's some mojo issues. Acrimony, bad coordinators, everything that could go wrong went wrong last year. They still were 11-6. And now they're coming in with reduced expectations. And I think a better team, better roster. I'm looking for this team to roll in a big way. He's going to cut down on those interceptions, which were a part of the issue and probably part of the reason they didn't cover there as favorites. Let's go. Go Birds.
I'd also
Kramer,
point out that you're not allowed to invoke Saquon Barkley as a positive. That you're just not allowed to do that.
Really? Why not?
No, Anyway, but yeah,
Why not?
well, I could come on. Why not?
Do you think you don't think Saquon Barkley is an upgrade from DeAndre Swift?
Just the. I mean, it is political. It's political season. I get it.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
what?
I mean, I just think you've really
let new information come to light.
What new information?
Yeah, Saquon Barkley. Well, he was injury prone when he was playing the majority of his home games on that Meadowlands turf. Now he's getting better sports science, better locker room, better leadership. Saquon Barkley is in a much better situation. And now you have the Giants trying to humiliate him on Hard Knocks. He's a motivated, in shape, healthy running back with at least a couple good seasons left. So happy that Saquon, as I like to call him, is back home where he belongs in the state of Pennsylvania. Nittany Lion, local kid. It's great to have Saquon coming home, Ryan. Great story. Great guy on and off the field. I understand why he was the most popular Giant last year. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from your owner. Better offensive line. Who? Saquon?
He's looking at jersey sales.
Who is going to be number one in jersey sales for the Giants this year? Malik Neighbors?
100%. That's easy. Maybe Brian Burns, maybe Dexter Lawrence, but probably Malik Neighbors. All right, I got a couple guys who just missed my list. One was shocking.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like I give Tua enough respect for his ability to cover the spread, especially as a favorite. But
also
Anthony Richardson was the guy that I thought you were going to have on the list, so I left off of my list, and I do think he's going to be an interesting bet on candidate this year.
He is interesting too, but then I wish I could have done Joe Flacco. Because once Anthony Richardson gets knocked out again with a concussion and Joe Flacco comes in and leads them to a playoff victory, that'll be awesome. But I do feel like the market's catching up to Anthony Richardson a little bit. Still holding firm on my love of him in fantasy, but it'll be interesting to see, like when we do the team previews, where I'm at officially with him, what the marketplace. Certainly tons of variance with that Colts team. I do like everything around him. And they certainly, the ceiling case for them is pretty easy. But if I'm trying to think like what's the most likely outcome, it is tough because you like that quarterback to make a jump from year one to year two. But did he have enough games and experience to make that jump? It's going to be interesting.
For me, the bet on is I am betting on his anytime touchdown until he gets hurt.
Yeah.
That's going to be the move.
No, and that's why he's so good in fantasy.
All right, so we last time we ranked him after we were done. We have three guys that are the same: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Russ Wilson. You have Will Levis and rare breed Jalen Hurts.
Yes,
I have Kyler Murray and Jared Goff. How are you ranking your five?
Well, number one, obviously, Jalen Hurts. Number two,
that wasn't obvious to me.
Number two, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Number three, Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Because he's on the Steelers. Russell Wilson. Then I'll go Josh Allen, and then Will Levis is kind of like the wild card there at the end. Because I think Will Levis could get us paid with some outright dog winners that will like kind of end up taking this to a nicer place as far as total payout.
Number one for me, Russ Wilson, by far, by a wide margin. He's my favorite this year, at least. Number two, it's going to be Kyler. I'm going to be delighted to bet on the Cardinals and the Steelers every week until I'm like 0-8 and feeling stupid about it. After that, let's go with a Josh Allen at number three. We'll go Jared Goff number 4 and Joe Burrow number 5 because the numbers have to be respected.
Respect the numbers. Yeah, Joey B, always fun to bet on. And you mentioned Tua. Tua to me is like a seasonal guy, like early in the season, early favorite in September, in October, I'm all in. Once the weather gets cold, that's when Tua changes his color, and that's when I'm looking to fade him. Yes,
I know this. What like we. It's unfortunate that you don't have more hair, because a Joe Burrow hair dye bet might be a fun option.
I already got the buzz cut, but yeah, he has enough hair to where he could dye it. I would like to see someone's reaction if I went in and asked them to dye my hair, seeing what they would say. All right, Kramer. Hey, we got some good couple more pods coming up this week, and of course, team previews start Sunday night. First up, your New England Patriots. That should be fun. Cannot wait. Again, if you're checking out the VSiN morning shows, appreciate everyone tuning into those. And get in on the Patreon. Just about to email the winners of last week's, who won it was two guys, so they're gonna split. Maybe they want to actually split the ticket, but we'll have to figure that out. $100 circa winner last week. Yeah, we'll see what we run back for the prize this week. Appreciate everyone tuning in as always. Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast. And for the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Russ is back, baby.
Kramer, let it ride.